Elephant ears, or caladiums, are native to tropical regions throughout the world. They're a very popular annual where I'm at here in Zone 8A in North Alabama. They do very, very well for us during the summer months, and they range in colors from green to black, and then there's a separate group called caladiums, and they can have whites and reds and greens all on the same leaf, and they're really, really cool. In terms of height, they can be anywhere from 18 inches to 5 feet tall. So really with elephant ears, as long as it's a shady location, there's a ton of different applications for it when you factor in the different colors that they have and also the different height characteristics that they have. What I want to show you how to do today is how to start a caladium or an elephant ear indoors about a month before you can plant it. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. Let's get started. Okay, so what I have here, I went to Lowe's and I bought 2 bulbs. According to the label, these are going to get up to 5 feet tall, and that's my goal. By the end of the summer, I want these to be coming up to around my chin, give or take. These are green elephant ears. They're going to get 5 feet tall, maybe 3 feet around, and they should have anywhere from 3 to 6 big leaves that come out on them. I've got a place in a shaded area that I want to plant these. I want to walk you through how I'm going to start these early in the yard, but the first thing I want to show you how to do is, I noticed on these sat in the bag for 3 or 4 days, and they've got a little bit of mold or mildew on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is this. After I remove the sticker, I'm going to wash this off. So what am I washing this off with? In this bowl, I have a mixture of 3% hydrogen peroxide and water. So it's 5 parts water to 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide. And that should be enough to get the mold or the fungus or whatever's on here off. In any spots that are really big or really prevalent, I'm just going to kind of rub off with my thumb. And it's already coming off. I can tell it's bubbling a little bit here on the bulb. So that one's pretty clean. We're going to do the other one. Take the label off, of course. And we're going to wash this one. So once they are washed off, what am I going to do with these? So what I'm going to do with these, we're going to plant these in these 1-gallon pots. And so in these 1-gallon pots, what I have is, in the bottom of them, I have my potting media. And it's really only like the last 10 to 20% of the pots filled up with potting media. And I'm using 100% pine bark here. So how do we know which way is up on a bulb? I want to show you something here. So on these 2 examples, it's pretty easy because there's already growth coming out of these. You can see right there, that's a leaf coming out. This one's got several little leaves coming out, but what if you have one that doesn't have these little leaf bumps coming out of it? What you want to do is look at the rings on your bulb. So on the top side, you're going to have concentric rings going all the way up to the top. So you see these series of rings here going all the way to the top. And if you look at the bottom, it's going to be rough and bumpy, and it's going to look like there's little holes in the bottom of it. That's where the roots come out of. So the top is up here with the concentric rings. The bottom is the bumpy part. And if you look at your bulb and you're still confused, one thing you can do is plant it sideways and let nature figure it out. The bulb's going to do what it's supposed to do. So the roots are going to go down in the dirt, and then the leaves are going to come up above the soil layer, and you're going to be fine. I have an example I'm going to show you later where I actually planted one upside down on purpose just to show that it will root and it will have vegetation as well. So is it important to plant these right side up? Yes, for the most part it is, but if you're in doubt, plant it sideways. And even if you mess up and plant it upside down, it's not the end of the world because it still may come up. I'm going to place that right down in the pot. And all we're going to do is add more potting mix to this right here. I'm going to cover that up. Need a little bit more. So you can see there, we've got our bulb covered up. I'm going to give it a little tap a time or two, make sure that the soil is in and around the sides of the bulbs really good, and it is. Put just a little bit more soil on top. And we're going to do the same thing with the other one. Okay, so there's a few special things that you need to do with this bulb that you wouldn't do with other plants. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk you out to where we're gonna set these for about the next 30 to 45 days and show you what we're gonna do with them. Okay, so we've moved outside and I'm on my back porch. It's an enclosed back porch. You can see the windows here. And this is a south-facing window. And I've put these pots on a heat mat. So this heat mat here, I can water on this, and as the water drains, it's not gonna hurt this heat mat. It's rated to have a little bit of water on it, but what's going to happen is this. I want to get these bulbs as warm as I can get them. So this is a tropical plant. It needs a lot of heat to germinate out of that bulb. So what we're doing here, we're creating an environment that is going to encourage this plant to heat up. So in the morning, as the sun comes up, this room heats up. It can get 80, 85 degrees in here really, really easy if I close off the door that goes to the rest of the house that is air conditioned. So what we're going to do is we're going to close off that door. The heat's going to build up in here. And then in the evening, as it cools off, we still have the heat mat releasing heat into the soil, heating up our bulb. So the goal here is to have the soil temperature up around 80 degrees, 24 hours a day. So within about 30 days or so, I fully expect to see some foliage coming out of these. And all we want to do is keep this soil moist. You don't want to keep it saturated because you don't want your bulb to rot, but you want to keep it moist. So you take your finger, do the finger test. If you take your index finger and stick it down in the soil to about the middle joint, I want you to feel some moisture on the end of your fingertip. If it's dry, add a little bit of water to it and just monitor it like every other day. Come out and check it. And I'm probably gonna water these about once, maybe twice a week. So every 3 to 7 days, and that depends on what's happening outside of these windows here, right? So if it's cloudy and I'm not getting a whole lot of sun, it's probably gonna be once a week. If it's sunny every day, that watering regimen is probably going to increase to once every 3 or 4 days. It just kind of depends on how much heat we're getting from the sun. So let's check back in on these here in about 3 or 4 weeks and see what kind of progress that we have. So it's been just a little over 1 month since we put our elephant ears on the heat mat. And you can see the results here. We've got one good one here. And ironically enough, I intentionally planted this one upside down to see if it would come up, and it has, and it's about to bust out of the pot. I don't know if you can see that there, but the stalks off the elephant ears are poking out the sides here. So we're literally gonna have to cut this out of the pot. The one I planted right side up, I don't know what happened, but it is rotted. It's soft, it's nasty, gushy, it's got fungus gnats all over it. Same amount of water, same amount of heat, same location, so it was getting the same amount of sunlight, and it rotted. So if you remember back to the beginning of the video, we had to treat for some mold on the bulbs here, and I'm wondering if that wasn't the culprit here. And then we have these 2 other bulbs that I've just been holding on to this whole time. We're in the first part of May, and I've got these little nodules coming up on our bulbs. If you start them early on heat, we started this one around April the 1st. This is the result. So you can get ahead if you plant indoors early and then put it on some heat, put it next to a vent where the heat's blowing on it, and you're gonna be just fine. What I want to do now is show you how to plant these. There's a few little tips and tricks, especially with your backfill, that I think will really help you with the success of growing these all summer long. So you want to plant your elephant ears in a location that is shady. Ideally less than 4 hours of direct sunlight a day. If you can give it 2 hours of direct sunlight a day, that's even better. This is the perfect spot for it. So behind the camera, the sun rises, and then it traces over my right-hand shoulder behind these trees over here. So it's getting some morning sun, and then in the mid-morning through afternoon until it's dark, it's in the shade. So just ideal location for an elephant ear. Elephant ears love rich, loamy soil. So where I'm at here, I live in a location called Sand Mountain. We are 80 to 90% sand. That is our textural analysis on our percentage sand, silts, and clays. So very sandy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to amend the backfill with some Miracle-Gro potting mix. So I've got my backfill here, and all we're going to do is add about 3 good handfuls here, and we're going to incorporate that into the backfill just to give the soil a little bit of loaminess to it, because that's what the elephant ear prefers. I've also dug this hole out about twice as big as the diameter of this bulb. So that's going to give these roots plenty of room to expand out into that loamy soil. In terms of planting depth, you want to plant this so that the top of the bulb is level or just barely below the soil layer, and that's what we've done here. So I'm going to put this bulb in. That is, the top of the bulb is just at or just below the soil layer. We're going to take our amended soil here. I'm going to mix this up really good. We're going to backfill it. And our bulb is now planted. A pro tip, as this gets bigger, the wind's going to want to push it around. So as you're putting in your soil, make sure you really pack it down really good, and that's going to keep that bulb from popping up out of the ground. If you have experience with growing elephant ears in your landscape, leave a comment below and let us know some tips and tricks that you use for successful growth of elephant ears. Also, if you have questions about elephant ears, make sure to leave those down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer those. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.